What up, everyone? How are you with your sexual things? Because today we're going to talk about LGBT history, and as well, we'll get into a little bit of identification at the end. My name is Roland, and this is The Blackout.
We can kill a light, hit the light, play it black out, hit the light, play it black out.
Stop. Before you watch the video, I'd like you to listen to this. Because June is Pride Month and because all Pride parades have been cancelled all over the world, some creative people who are involved in this topic made a Veal Chop Pride. It's honestly an amazing idea. It helps a lot of closeted queer kids and out and proud queer people unite. They are making content every day and working very hard on theme weeks, merch, social media, and their very own virtual Pride March. Check out the link in the description below. Now, let's head back to the video. Just like heterosexuality, homosexuality has always been there, as it probably depends on genetics. So yeah, we know we can make a whole video about the origin of homosexuality, scientifically speaking, but for now, let's stick with genetics. The biggest evidence for gays always being there is actually the Bible, because it's in it. So we can assume that same-sex couples were a thing in the ancient Israel. This wasn't different with ancient Greece, where bisexuality was the most common sexuality. And we cannot forget about our lesbian queen, Sappho. Same-sex marriage was legal in the ancient Rome, and there are evidences that even show transgender people lived in the ancient times. Moreover, homosexuality can be found in ancient Kenyan cultures as well with the two-spirit, which we'll cover in a second. After the discovery of America, the New World showed new sexualities, as well as Native Americans accepted the two-spirit culture, which exactly meant same-sex companionship. This was mostly a free socialization between two unmarried men or women. About transgender people in these ages. We don't know for sure if these people were transgenders, but we know that there were some women who wanted to do a job like military, and in order to do that, they tried to look more like the opposite gender. It was the same situation with men in case of art and fashion. Because of unfortunate sexism, women couldn't play in theaters, so actually, drag was a thing too. By the 19th century, the study of sexology reached the West. The first European scientists and doctors who dealt with the subject were Carl von Westphal, Richard von Krafft-Ebing, and Havelock Ellis. They thought homosexuality occurred by nature. However, Krafft-Ebing and Ellis covered a third gender, which they called abnormal. Sigmund Freud did not consider homosexuality as maleness. However, he did state that lesbian women can be converted into straight with enough male dominance. And that caused a lot of troubles later and put a total bullshit in people's mind. Gay writers like Radcliffe Hall did suffer from this. Also, Magnus Hirschliff did a huge research on LGBT history at that time in the library of Berlin Institute of Sexual Science. Thanks to Germany's more liberal laws, it caused some shootings in gay bars in Germany and in England between the two world wars. With the rise of the Third Reich, Hitler vanished all the tolerance towards gays that Germany made before. And unfortunately, we all know what happened after it. More than 1,000 gay men were arrested. 5,000 to 15,000 of them were sent to concentration camps. At that time, the USA was a lot safer for the community members. Drag shows even got more and more popular for straights too. Moreover, Martin Luther King's key organizer, Bayard Rustin, was gay, and it led to big changes. Because the government decided to treat gay people as the same as straights in public policy, mental health, and employment. In 1947, Kisner report suggested a new range of scale or a spectrum for sexualities which helped understanding them. In the 50s, a lot of organizations like Montecia Society for Gay Men or Daughters of Abilities for Lesbians appeared. These organizations reached out a huge number of people, especially compared to the era they were in. In 1965, with the outlawing of discrimination, the first gay rights demonstrations took place and were led by Frank Kameny and Barbara Gettings. The turning point came with the Stonewall in 1969. With the patrons of the popular Stonewall Inn, they fought back the outgoing police in Greenwich Village, New York. It's now considered the first Pride Parade and also commemorated by the Pride. With the expanding acceptance, the first openly gay minister was ordained by the United Church of Christ in 1972. Other gay and lesbian churches followed. Everything even got bigger with the National Gay and Lesbian Task Force, human rights campaigns, and openly gay representatives like Elaine Noble and Barney Frank. It had to take a step back in the 80s because AIDS appeared first with gays and the government didn't do anything about it, so it spread over. And the community was blamed as a result, even though we know that there is no connection between your sexual orientation and AIDS. In 1987 and in 1993, huge and enormous parades and marches appeared for gay rights. However, right-wing religious movements spread huge bullshit about the imaginary connection of being gay and AIDS. And they said that was the direct punishment of God, which is completely stupid. And honestly, I don't know how they could forget about God's teachings, like love even your enemies. Everybody is equal in front of God. But they forgot about that. Things got better in 1997 when famous actress Ellen DeGeneres came out. By that, the media paid more attention to the community. The situation of transgender people got more popular with books like Gender Outlaw and My Gender Workbook and Myth of Gender. Leslie Feinberg's Transgender Warriors explained so much more and even wrote about non-binaries. Leaving the 20th century and entering into the 21st century, the biggest step forward was made because same-sex marriage was legal again somewhere in the world. That was Netherlands. As we explained earlier, it was legal in the ancient Rome's. After this, in 2003, Belgium, Ontario, and British Columbia made it legal too. And finally, in 2004, 2 American states made it legal too. After this, a lot of representation in TV shows and in streaming platforms happened, and acceptance spread over the world. Using the pronoun they them was standard in these shows. Michigan Women's Musical Festival was dedicated to transgenders. More and more queer bars were opened and the community reclaimed this word. In the USA, it got so much better between 2015 and 2016 thanks to the film and music industry mostly. Then, unfortunately, that one shooting in Pulse Club Orlando happened. It was really tough for the community. 49 people died, 53 were injured. Let's cover the current situation. In 73 countries, living a same-sex relationship is illegal. And in 12 countries, it's punished by death, which is unacceptable. In 15 countries, being transgender is considered a crime. Well, LGBT community has an amazing history, I think. And as you can see, the community has fought and still fighting for its rights. There are a lot of things which has already got better, but a lot of things needs to be solved still. So everybody who is in the community, I have a message for you. Who you are, only can be judged by you. And what you feel is gonna be valid. You're not alone, and you really are not alone. Your identity is all about who you are. If something feels right for you, if something is you, that's gonna be part of your identity, even if it's not sexuality. And honestly, no one has the right to judge that, because identity highlights who we are. This was for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this amazing history, and link in the description below for Veal Chop rights. Thank you for your attention. My name is Roland, and see ya after the blackouts.